Well, hello there. How are you guys today? Welcome to Life on Turkey Lane. Today's video is going to have a compilation of a few things, but I hope you enjoy it. I thought we would start first with a little garden tour. I don't think I brought you down here when we planted our tomatoes and peppers I think it's been just a little over a week ago, not very long at all. But before that, I brought you down here when we planted some bean seeds and some snap peas and some snow peas and different things like that. And the zucchinis. And then in some of the other tires back in the back, I recently planted some spaghetti squash seeds. So I thought I would take you around and let you see how all that's doing. Okay, so as you can see, this is the bed that we planted the bean seeds and the pea seeds. I planted sugar snap peas and snow peas in this bed. And I also planted some bok choy. And so I kind of wanted to give you an update. Now I don't remember the exact date, but it's only been a couple of weeks, really. I don't even think it's been a full 3 weeks, just a couple of weeks. I hope you can hear me okay. I do have my microphone on this time because I'm quite a distance away from the camera. But I do have it on, so hopefully I won't have to do a voiceover. I'm trying to get this video in before we have any more rain. It's kind of starting to sprinkle just a bit. But anyway, if you can see right here, I almost all of the beans have germinated. Let's see, I have one or two maybe that haven't germinated. I'm not sure. One of them looks like it had been chewed on some. So I'm not sure if that's going to do very good or not. But either way, I think we had pretty good germination. I do see a couple little bug bites on here. This one's kind of looking a little scrawny and puny. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I do have a little bit of bug bites on those. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on them. And I really don't want to spray them with anything. I don't see any bugs on the leaves. Well, actually I do see a little bit of like aphids. So I'll get those off of there, and I may spray these with a little bit of like dish liquid water, soapy water, to handle those. And as you can see, the peas are growing up real well. I've got them trellised here. I had some 1x2s in the garage that were left over, and I didn't cut them down. I could have cut them down, but I didn't cut them down because I thought I might use them for another project later or something and didn't want to cut them just yet. But I used them here so we can trellis the peas, and the peas are looking real good. I'm going to fit some of them up in there to see if they'll start grabbing a hold of this twine. But yeah, it looks like all the peas germinated and they're doing real well. Now the arugula, bok choy, I'm sorry, it has not really done that well. I do have a few that germinated, but really overall, there isn't a very good germination on the arugula. I mean, bok choy. Why do I keep saying arugula? I'm not sure if that's a weed. I'm thinking that's probably a weed. And I hope it's not bindweed. This very first bed over here is the original bed in this garden, the one that we started a couple of years ago, and then I hurt my back and we couldn't finish this. This was the original bed, and we had it filled up with soil that we got from a semi-local nursery. And while the soil must have had a lot of nutrients in it, the only thing that ever really grew in it grew plenty of weeds, and we have a problem with bindweed. And since it's been raining so much, I haven't gotten out here again to clear some of that up, but I'll show you on the ground down here. You can see we covered this bed with some of the black weed fabric, but you can see the bindweed is coming out here on the ground. and it's coming out in some of these other areas. So I'm going to have to get out here and pull some of these weeds and grasses. But that's the only bed that we actually covered with the weed fabric, and that's because it was completely just filled with the bindweed and different weeds that we could not eradicate the whole thing. So we're just kind of hoping and praying that this works. We've got several tomato plants and pepper and basil plants in here, or not peppers, but basil and tomatoes and stuff. But that's what we had to do to that bed. We're hoping that that will help at least hinder some of the bindweed from taking over and damaging our plants in there. Now in this bed, as you can see, we have some more tomato plants. Most of these I think we bought at like the farmer's market and different places. Now the ones in this bed here, actually they were ones that I started, and they were really tiny when we put them in there, and they have done incredible. I will say they have grown. They're probably 4 times bigger than what they were when I planted them just a little more than a week ago. They really have shot up that much. But like I said, this bed of tomatoes is primarily tomatoes that we purchased at like the farmer's market and the little Amish store. And they are doing fantastic as well. This one actually has fruit on it already, and I'm not so sure if I should keep that on there or if I should go ahead and pluck it off and let the plant get a little bigger before it starts fruiting. But it does have flowers also on it. And the rest of them to be doing pretty well. There's one over here that's a little bit on the small side yet. But yeah, so looks like the tomatoes are they're progressing pretty good and doing pretty well. So I'm happy with all that. If I can keep the bindweed tamed in this bed, hopefully we'll get a good harvest out of all of these tomatoes. Okay, and here is our pepper bed. We have a number of varieties of peppers in here, and they're looking really good. They have grown quite a bit since we've planted them. And like I said, this was just done a week, at the very most 2 weeks ago. It's not been long. And everything has really grown very well. Now I will say that this little pepper over here seems like it's being ate up by something. The rest of them, however, look really good. This one's got a few bug bites on it, but other than that, they're looking pretty good. And I'm probably going to end up picking them off, but I have two pepper plants right here. They're relatively small, but they already have some fruit on them. This is poblano. Yep, they're both poblanos, and they already have some fruit on them. I'm probably going to pick that fruit off of there until these plants get a little more established and get a little more height and solidarity to them. But the peppers look like they're doing really good. This one here looks like it's going to be starting to flower pretty soon. And each one of the beds we planted a little bit of marigolds and zinnias and like dill and basil and things like that will help with some of the pest control. I'm not sure why this pepper here is being attacked so much. But if the bugs attack that one and leave the rest of them alone, I'll be happy with that. We'll sacrifice that one to the gods, I guess. The bug gods. Okay, now over in these 4 tires is where we've planted our zucchini. These 2 in the back here are the black diamond zucchini, and I did put 2 seeds per thing, and we're going to be taking the weaker one out of each one and probably replanting it in some mineral buckets. In mineral buckets, we'll replant those. And then in the front 2 tires here, we have the yellow zucchini. And the same thing with it. I planted 2 seeds per tire. And we're going to take the smaller, weaker ones out of these as well and transplant them someplace else. So we get all 4 of them, but they'll each one have room to grow. And sorry, you're going to see some weeds because it's been rainy and I have not had the opportunity to get out here and do any of the weeding. And of course, you can see some weeds have come up through the fencing there, and we're going to have to trim them back and get rid of those and cut some of the little saplings out from down here. This is the tire that I planted the yellow summer squash, the crookneck squash in. And again, there's 2 in there, and they've both germinated and they're doing well. And we'll be transplanting one of those. And then the other 3 tires that were left when I planted the zucchini seeds and all of that, there were 3 tires left back here that I did not have seeds to put in them. And so I got some spaghetti squash seeds, and just last weekend I planted those, and I'll point you down here. You can see all of those are already germinated. So this tire here and those 2 back there all have spaghetti squash in them. And I did the same thing like I did the zucchini, and I have put 2 seeds per tire. And we're going to, like I said, take one of these out of each one of these and replant them someplace else. So I get plenty. So I'm hoping and praying. We love the spaghetti squash and the zucchinis. I eat them a lot, and I like to have some for in the wintertime and not just summer. So that's why I kind of want the spaghetti squash. I hope it and pray it does well, because I love to make pasta out of spaghetti sauce. It's really good if you're on a lower carb diet. And again, there's some weeds, and we'll take care of those here in a bit. Okay, I think the last thing that I have to show you are the potatoes that we planted. As you can see, we're getting to the point where we're going to be adding some more soil. These have all popped up, and they have plenty of green showing. And we're going to add probably 5 or 6 more inches of soil, and then we're going to let them grow. These are determinate varieties, which means we could have just planted them in about 12 or 15 inches of soil and they would have been fine. You don't have to hill these kind or anything. But we did plant them in just not very much soil to kind of get them started. And we are going to go ahead and kind of like hill them and fill them up with more soil until the soil is closer to the top, so they have plenty of room to grow in there. And hopefully we'll get some potatoes. So there you go, guys. There's kind of a garden tour. Of course, our garden is not as big as a lot of these channels you watch, but this is doing really good, and I'm happy with it. Like I said, we just planted these things a short time ago, so they're doing really well. And I've got to get down here and take care of the few little weeds that are growing up, and we'll do that. And so I'll take you onto the back deck and show you the plants back there. And it was just a week ago that we put all of the little plant starts in the stackable tower. And I also planted a few tomatoes and something up there that I'll show you all about that. Okay, guys, so I'm back up here on the deck, and let's take a little mini tour. I guess you could say the garden was pretty much a mini tour. But just a little tour of, if you remember, it was just last weekend that I did the little Dollar Tree stackable planters, and I planted out some of the starts we had in those. And they too have exploded, guys. They really have done good. Here's the one, and you can see the little petunias there, and the dill is just growing like crazy. That's the basil, and I've already harvested some of that since I planted. And we've got the rosemary in there and some cilantro. So yeah, that's doing really well. And then this one over here, you'll really be surprised at the petunias. Look at those. This is just after being in there for a week, 1 week. And these petunias that had maybe one little bloom on them and just one little leg hanging down has just exploded with flowers, and they are the prettiest flowers, the little polka dots. Got some of that purple basil. Here is the pineapple sage, and I love the smell of that. We've got some more regular basil in here, and the dill is doing very well. Oregano. I've got a pepper plant in here. It's not really done anything, but yeah, they seem to be liking their home, and so really happy with that. Okay, so then now a little over a month ago, I found these. I've not showed them to you before, but I found these partial. They're planter boxes, and they're supposed to have like an arbor over them or a trellis over them. But they were just partial. They were missing some of their parts, but I went ahead and grabbed them. They were on the side of the road. I find quite a few things that are really pretty good stuff on the side of the road. Now, I will say this is a cheapy plastic set, but I thought it would do real good on my porch here to plant a few like cherry tomato plants and things in. And I'm going to get some lattice from Lowe's and make an arbor or an archway for these to climb up on. But anyway, I planted a pineapple tomato in this one over here, and I planted a couple cherry tomatoes in this one over here, and I planted those at the same time that I did the little tower planters, the same day. And these things, they were my starts, and my starts were very small because they were stunted from not having the right grow light and the right conditions for them. They were very stunted, and they were only about 3 inches tall. And that, like I said, this is just a week's time. In a week's time, they must really like where they're at, because they have more than quadrupled in size. And so I'm looking forward to see how these do, and so excited about those. I'm happy that they're doing so well. So this one has the 2 different cherry tomatoes in it. I think they're the classic cherry. I think I put both the same ones in there, and then I've got a few of those gold marigolds and an alyssum in there. The alyssum's not doing great. But now the one here in the tower planter, let me swing it around. These were almost dead. The alyssum were almost dead, and it has taken off. So it's doing pretty good. So yeah, I've got a couple tomatoes and some marigolds in here and alyssum. And like I said, the tomatoes and the marigold, they're doing fantastic. And now over here in this one, I just put 1 tomato plant in it because this is a larger variety. It's called a pineapple tomato, and it's going to be a bigger tomato. So I'm hoping it will do well and grow well. This container is about the equivalent of a 5-gallon bucket. So I'm thinking that I should be able to grow that in here, and it should do well, but we'll just have to wait and see. So there you go. That's kind of a garden tour on the back deck here of what we have. And so let me show you what I bought at Baker Creek. Truthfully, it was super, super, super busy. And when we first got there, we kind of got there at a good time when, right before there wasn't a whole lot of people there before us. We got there before it opened, and the line before us wasn't super, super bad. But the first tent you entered when you got there was a Baker Creek one, and instead of a different vendor. And they had a whole bunch of plants for sale, and they had also seed packets for sale. And now when I first walked into the tent, there was just a couple people in there, not many at all. And within a few seconds of me walking in that tent, it was like the floodgates let loose, and that tent was so full you couldn't move around in there. And so I grabbed a couple plants, not even as many as I wanted. I grabbed a couple things and got out of Dodge, So so anyway, let me show you just a couple things that I got in there. Okay, so I got this, it's called the Fall Gold Raspberry, and it is a thorning variety. It will thorn. But I have heard lots and lots of good things about this, the Fall Gold Raspberry, and it's a golden colored raspberry, and it's supposed to be much sweeter than your regular raspberry. And so I'm looking forward to growing that, and we're going to plant this out probably here over the weekend. We're going to try to plant this out, and it was relatively inexpensive. You know, if you buy berry bushes and plants and stuff like that at Lowe's and Menards and some of your bigger box stores, you pay a pretty good penny for them. I mean, some of the ones for this size at Lowe's were running around $15 or more. So, you know, and I don't even think they had a fall gold variety. So $6 for this nice plant is not bad at all. The only other plant I got was this, and it was just a seedling. You had to pick it as many as you wanted out of their little container there. So it's not in a container at the moment. But this is a, and I can't remember the exact variety. It's a mint, and I think it's a Thai mint. I've never tasted it. I don't know what it's like. It does smell like mint. It smells more like almost like your regular peppermint. It's, you know, that's pretty much what it smells like. But so I picked up the Fall Gold Raspberry and this mint plant. And that's the only two plants I picked up. I was hoping to find some hanging baskets for my front porch with some pretty flowers. And I also wanted to pick up a few flowers for the front of the tiny farmhouse. But I did not see any flowers at all for sale at Baker Creek. No, I didn't see anybody selling any flower bouquets, baskets, anything like that. So, but we had a good time, and let me get the other few things that I bought from there, and I'll show you those. And then I'm going to talk to you about the cucumbers. Okay, so other than those two plants I showed you, I only bought a couple other things. Like I said, it was so crowded there that even getting to the vendor's booth, it was pretty difficult, you know. So, I mean, I'm thankful I went. And they only have a couple of times a year where they actually have lots of vendors and different things. So I like to go during those times because there's more to do and more to see. And at the end of this video, I will show you some clips, some little video clips of while we were there. And but I picked up this whole seed catalog for $5, and this has a complete listing of all the seeds they sell with beautiful pictures. And now you can go to rareseeds.com and find a listing of all their seeds they sell, and they are relatively inexpensive, and I do believe that all their seeds are free shipping. I could be wrong about that, so don't hold me to that one, but when I ordered from them before, it was free shipping. So I went ahead and bought one of their seed catalogs. Really great to have that. And then they have a and then when you purchase, anytime you go into one of their little locations and purchase things, you can get a free packet of seeds. And so I've got these, and I actually put a couple seeds in a few containers back here. But these are so neat. This is called the spoon tomato, and the tomatoes are way smaller than like your grape tomato variety and your cherry tomato variety. These are about the size of peas or up to blueberry size. So very tiny, and I'm looking so forward. Now I know it's really a little bit late to be planting seeds, but I figured that these are probably, since they're not giant tomatoes, that I probably will get to harvest some of these before the growing season's up. So anyway, so yeah, I got a free packet of those. And then at the bulk herb store, I bought some hibiscus tea and ginger root tea. So not a very big shopping trip, but I did get some things that I really wanted. And so I'm happy with that, and it was a fun time. I'm going to put up, like I said, at the end of this video, I'll put up some footage of that. and let you see it. Maybe you can kind of enjoy the trip along with me a little bit. I wasn't able to capture a whole lot because, like I said, it was super crowded. Before I put that footage up, I'm going to show you a clip about our cucumbers, and I'm going to take you over here and show you these buckets that I have the cucumbers in. I moved the cucumber buckets to the table, and as you can see, there is nothing growing in these. And I'm going to show you here why. Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, I have some sorry news. Sissy got out here this morning. We were out on the back deck, and I was pruning up some basil and doing some things out here on the deck, and she ate the cucumber starts. So devastating news, because I've been babying these things along through the cooler weather, waiting for the warmer weather to come so that these things would really take off. And yeah, let me turn you around here and I'll show you what she did to them. So there you go, guys. I had thinned them out to where there was only 2 per pot, and I was contemplating thinning them out for 1 per pot. That one still has the 3. But yeah, she ate them. And so now it looks like I'm going to have to replant. So I'm going to be cleaning these buckets out. I'm going to be adding some fertilizer to them, and I'm going to replant a few cucumber seeds. I don't think I'm going to do 3 seeds per pot this time. I think I'm just going to do 2, and I may even thin them back to 1 per pot. But yeah, that's what happened. So in case you don't see I figured I would shoot this just in case you don't see an update on the cucumbers here in the near future. So, but that's what's going on, and we're going to replant these cucumber seeds. And hopefully later on in the summer, when they get big, we can harvest some cucumbers, and I'll keep you up to date on that one. Okay, so as you saw, Sissy ate every last one of my cucumber plants that were in here, the starts. That little turkey. She is the turkey here at Life on Turkey Lane. I'm telling you, she ate every last one of these cucumber starts. And that's not even the worst part. That very day that she did that, I went ahead and plucked the stems out of the pots, got rid of those, and I planted new seed. And the next morning I got up, and something got up here on this table, on the porch, and dug the seeds out of these containers. I am not kidding you guys. I am not kidding you. I could not be more serious. I have never seen anything like that in my life. Andy has just been laughing. He don't really eat cucumbers anyway. But he has been laughing and laughing about this. So anyway, guys, there you have the story of the cucumbers. I'm hoping that sometime, maybe around the middle of July, we'll get some fresh cucumbers to eat. I was hoping we'd get some before then, but that's just the way things go. Anyway, I thank you guys for joining me here tonight for this May 2023 garden tour. And I thank you for joining me at Life on Turkey Lane. Stay tuned to the end of the video to see my clips from the Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival. Be blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all. There is love.